when I sit there and they ask me to pull that rope and I can finally see number 21 up there in the rafters with everybody else, it's going to be a moment because it's, you know, dying is part of living. And one day we're all going to leave this earth. But you know what? Whenever they change this arena, they have to put that jersey up there. And my great great grandkids will be able to say, you know what? That's my grandfather up there.
Hey there, what's going on? I'm ESPN Sports Center anchor Jay Harris. The good-looking gentleman in the gray sweater is senior NBA writer for ESPN's Andscape and also a basketball Hall of Famer, Marc Spears. Marc, you want to introduce our guest?
As a brother I've had the pleasure to know when I was covering the Denver Nuggets 20 years ago. He was an interim coach with the Denver Nuggets, but what an illustrious resume that my man Michael Cooper has. Coop was 8-time NBA All-Defensive Team selection, first time, 5 times. More importantly, he won the Defensive Player of the Year honors in 1987. It's a former third-round pick, which made him the 60th pick in the draft, which would have made him the last pick of the draft nowadays, which makes his journey even more incredible. The former University of New Mexico star spent 12 years in the NBA with the Showtime Lakers, winning 5 championships, and always got the toughest defensive assignment. My man, Michael Cooper, welcome to the show.
Marc, thank you for having me. Jay, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thank you. Yeah, Marc, those were some days back there in Denver. That thing kind of like went by in the blink of the eye. I was there and then I was gone, but
Yeah.
you know, it was a wonderful time. But it's always a pleasure to see you guys.
Oh, man, always a pleasure, man.
Coop, when did basketball become your favorite sport?
You know, as a young man growing up here in Pasadena, our family, and my immediate family is my mom and my brother, but I was raised by my grandmother, and she had 10 kids, and they had kids, so we had a big family. So for us, sports were seasonal. So I tried baseball, I tried football, and basketball kind of latched on to me probably about the age of 8 or 9. I was pretty athletic, but real skinny. And basketball became a reality for me as far as what I wanted to become because my parents didn't have the money to pay for me to go to a 4-year college. So I was going to use basketball, or I was going to use sports before sports used me, and that was my tool and my vehicle to get an education.
So, Coop, when you got that call, that long-awaited call, man, from the Hall of Fame, it's been some years, man. You've been on the ballot a few times, and you don't believe it till you get that call. But tell me about the call. I'm not sure if you remember who did call you, and just your emotions when you became an official member of the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame.
Well, you know, Marc, I've always played this game for the love of the game. And after 12 years, the accolades that come with it, I never, ever, ever thought that my footsteps would be standing at the door of the Hall of Fame and me knocking. So my call came this year, April 1st, April Fool's Day. So I knew the call was going to be coming, and it came at about 9:10 that morning. And Jerry Colangelo, Mr. Colangelo, and Chris gave me a call. Now, as you stated, I had been on the ballot 2 years, and I got that call, and I'm waiting, and I was real excited. And they, you know, hey, Coop, you know what? You're a Hall of Famer, but it's not your year. So when the call came, I remember answering the phone, and my wife was sitting next to me, and I had it on speakerphone, and I kind of like spazzed out for a minute, and they were going like, Coop, you know what? Congratulations, you got in. So I'm sitting there holding the phone like this, and my wife hits me on the leg. She said, babe, you got in. And I'm like, huh? What? I said, if this is an April Fool joke, this is very, very rude, you guys. And Jerry starts laughing, Mr. Colangelo, and he goes, no, no, Coop, you got in. And you know what, Marc? It just, all the work you do, the things that you go through, and the games that you played. And I was telling people, I left a lot of blood, sweat, and skin at the Forum. And when they said I got in, that kind of made it all worthwhile. But it was a moment that was very overwhelming. This whole process is still overwhelming for me. And my grandmother used to tell me, "You work hard, good things will come to you." And that old saying, "Better late than never." I'm here and I'm ready to go. And that door is open. I'm ready to walk through it.
You said better late than never. It's been 28 years since you played basketball in the NBA. So if you're a Hall of Famer now, I guess when
Or
you
38
finish
years, right?
38 years, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
When
Be
if you
quiet,
are
Mark. I like that 28. That sounds better than 67.
We got to keep accuracy, man. We have to have live accuracy going on in the podcast world too, man.
you just go fact check me as we go. That's fine.
Yeah,
That's fine.
yeah.
That's fine. That's why I talk for a living because I can't do math. But anyway, so I mean, all right, 38 years later, you're a Hall of Famer officially, but technically, I guess you've been a Hall of Famer since then. What do you think makes you a Hall of Famer?
You know what, Jay? The one thing that I found out about the Hall of Fame, and the one reason that I kind of liken myself to like a Bobby Jones or a Ben Wallace or Dennis Rodman, is that usually when you think Hall of Famer, you think of somebody that averaged 28, 30 points a game, was 15-time All-Star, 6 or 7-time All NBA. And you know what? The Hall of Fame is about your body of work for sure on the court, but the other thing that I found out is the Hall of Fame is what have you done for the game of basketball? What have you given back? So it's outside the game too. So you know what? When you stack up everything like that, my body of work is just as good as anybody that's in. You know what? I've been a coach in the WNBA, won championships there. Myself and Roy Sparrow in 1987, we were co-recipients of the Walter J. Kennedy Citizenship Award. And that award is about what have you done in your community. And I was the leader on the West Coast, and Roy was the leader on the East Coast when he played with the Knicks. So when you put all that together, I think all that goes into the committee and the people that are making the decisions. All that goes into, does this guy deserve to be there? And I like to think that the things that I've done for sure on the court, and you kind of talked about that earlier, Mark, but it's the things that I've done off the court that I'm very proud about too, and in our community here in Los Angeles.
Coop, we talked about your defensive prowess and winning Defensive Player of the Year in 1987. I like stories when I talk to folks who used to play the game. So who was the toughest guy for you to guard?
You know what, Jay? And it really, really was hard for me to settle in on one person, and that person happened to be Larry Bird, and not because he said that. Because the thing with Larry Bird is that that man was going to do something to affect the game on the offensive end. I played against Michael Jordan, George Gervin, the Iceman, the late great Mike Mitchell, Andrew Toney. When those players pass the ball, they have a tendency to take a step back and they'll kind of like watch to see what's going on. Well, with Larry, when he passed the ball, he was going to go offensive rebound. He was going to set a back pick. He was going to do something to affect the game. So you never could really rest against him on that end. And that's why I say that man was very difficult to guard. There was years, Jay, when in '84, my quickness was the one asset I had that I could deal with him on that aspect. So he got in 1984, he picked up 52 pounds because he was going to take, he was going to, Coop, I'm taking your little butt up under the basket and be physical with you. And they beat us that year. So he was always going to do something. But Larry was a phenomenal player, as well as the other players I've talked about, and many players in the NBA. But he was the one that you always had to stay attentive to. You had to stay in the game with him all the time.
What was the best trash talking he gave you?
You know what? After like 81, 82, that was not going to affect us. So he knew he had to put more concentration into the actual physicality of the game and the mental aspect. So he didn't talk a lot of trash to us because that wasn't going to bother me. I mean, I was into my zone and I was into my job. But the one time, this was in 1984, and we were playing them at the Forum. And he came down, Mark and Jay, and he goes, Coop, I'm getting ready to wear your ass out. So I got in my best defensive position, got my hand down, got real low. He came off a down pick by Robert Parrish, and came off of it. Now, I mean, I'm right there. And DJ passes him the ball just as he come off right at the elbow, the free throw line area. And Larry gets it, and he goes up to shoot. And I got my hands up, and I'm like, I'm going to smash this. And Kareem steps out there, and both of us are on him. To this day, I don't know how this guy made that pass to Robert Parrish, but he hit it Parrish. Parrish was come off like a pick and roll, but a jump shot roll, hit Parrish. Parrish dunks the basketball. Celtics go up by like 15 on us, and he just chuckles at me and says, I told you, mother. And then that made me so mad, man. I was just, how did this guy make that play? But those are the plays that Larry Bird could make on that offensive end. And he never talked trash after that because we got to beating their ass then. We beat them in 85, 87. So he didn't have anything else to say.
Coop, let me ask you this real quick. How did you fall in love with defense? Like it's like the offense is such a pretty thing, right? That's offense sells tickets. Offense gets you to commercials. You're in LA, but when did you fall in love with not only fall in love with defense, but knew that was gonna make you a star in the league?
Well, I'll go back to high school. I had a coach, George Turgeon, who's passed on now, who taught me the basic fundamentals of how to play defense. Get down low, play with your feet, not with your hands, keep them feet moving, and the whole fundamental aspect of it. When I got to college, my college coach, Norm Ellenberger, who's passed on now, taught me the tenacity to consume someone's oxygen, get up in their face and don't let them breathe. Coop, you got to get on. So when I get drafted and I'm going to the Lakers, Jerry West was my coach. So I remember the first day after I got drafted, I'm heading to training camp. I get to Loyola Marymount. And when I walk into the gym, I see Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Jamal Wilkes and Norm Nixon. Just Kareem's down there shooting sky hooks. So we get into practice and stuff. So Jerry pulls me to the side and he goes, Coop, I already have scores. I got 30 points in Kareem. I got 27, 28 in Jamal Wilkes. I got 22 to 25 in Norm Nixon. There's not enough balls to go around for you to get shots. So I need somebody to play defense. So I said, hey, I already got the fundamentals down. I got the aggressiveness down. And now I've been told that this was going to be my role. So I took that to heart, embraced it, got better and better. And then when Pat Riley came on and became the coach, he really showed me and honed it all in on the scouting reports, attention to detail, want to be good at it. There's not enough balls to go around, Coop, but you know what? There are accolades that you can win. First team all defense, defensive player of the year. There's some things you can do to kind of stand out for not shooting the ball because, as you say, everybody sees the offense. That's the glamorous part. The defensive part is one that kind of goes unnoticed. But you had some great ones in Bobby Jones and Dennis Rodman and Ben Wallace, and you know what? You follow suit with that, and that was going to be my point. The jacket that I had to wear in order to stay with the Lakers and to be successful and help us win championships.
Man, you bring up some great names. Y'all had some great teams. Uh, what was your, how do I want to phrase this? I don't want to ask a two-part question, but I think I will. When you look back over your career, your biggest win and your toughest loss.
I think our biggest win, and there's two of them, but I think I'm gonna give it to you right here. The biggest win was in 1980 because we were just playing basketball. We were playing the Philadelphia 76ers, and that team, Jerry Buss had bought the Lakers, and he wanted us to entertain the entertainers. And so what it was all about Showtime. So when we were playing Showtime, not once did we talk about winning a championship through that season. The fifth game of that championship season against the Sixers, Kareem twisted his ankle. We're going to Boston. I mean, going to Philadelphia to play without Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And that was the first time that I really realized what basketball meant because we were all scared. And all of a sudden, Magic gets on the plane and he goes, you know what? What are y'all sad about? Have no fear. Magic Johnson's here. And we went to Philly and we won. And that was the biggest win because that set off a chain or that taste of what championship basketball was about. So when we won, after we won in 80, we wanted to win more. And that was our mission every year was to have the opportunity to play for a championship. We went to the NBA Finals 9 times in the 80s, and we won it 5 times. The biggest loss, I'm from Los Angeles. I've always been kind of like a Laker fan. I remember the West, Baylor, and Chamberlain days and going through that. The biggest loss was when we had our opportunity to play the Boston Celtics for the 1984 championship. And the one thing that we were concerned about was that so-called Boston mystique that the Lakers had never beat them and all those great champions teams before. The Lakers could never beat Boston. Well, here we are, got a chance for redemption. We're playing them and we end up losing. And the pain that I felt was the pain of Jerry West, Gail Goodrich, Elgin Baylor. I felt all that. Bill Sharman being the coach. I felt that. And that was our determining factor of, and Pat Riley said it after that game, we will never lose to this team again in 1984. And that was the last time. So the biggest win other than 80 was winning it in 85 because we beat the team that was the Lakers' nemesis over all the years. And when we won in 85, it was like eradicating all the ghosts that we helped Jerry West, Bay, all those Laker teams. And Jerry's our GM now. And he won't go to Boston at all because he's feeling the heat. So we had a chance to alleviate that for him by beating them in 85.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, you were part of the Showtime Lakers. You played in the Forum. They also had the Forum Club. What was, the Dodgers were big, right, with Valenzuela and Lasorda and all them guys. But did y'all run the city? Like, what was it like to be a member of the Showtime Lakers in LA once you left the Forum?
You know what? It was kind of like, and I always tell people this, Jay and Mark, our team was so closely knitted together. It was like playing with your brothers. I grew up, and like I said, I had a big family, so I had like 5 or 6 cousins. And what we would do every Saturday is we'd all get together because we played in our backyard, and we say, you know what? Let's go over to the next block. Let's go to Los Angeles. Let's go over to LA, and we'll go play. And we used to go as a group. And when we played, we didn't have to say anything. When you're playing basketball, sometimes you have to tell a guy, cut, cut, cut. We didn't have to do that because we knew each other so well. When that Lakers Showtime groove got to going, we didn't have to say anything. We could just look at Magic's face and we knew, and he knew what we were going to do. So for the Coop-A-Loop, if I saw him and his eyes got kind of big, I knew go to the basket because that's what he wants me to do. So we were so in tune and so connected to one another on and off the court. We did a lot of things off the court to really bring that chemistry together and that glue to make us really, really tight for on the court. So it was like playing with family, man. And you know what? I was very fortunate. Me, myself, Kareem, and Magic were the only ones in that 80 area that won all 5. But I played a long time with Byron Scott, Norm Nixon, Jamal Wilkes, James Worthy. Jerry was adding different pieces to it every year to really make our team stronger. So when we did finish up there, we had, and Mark, I'm pretty sure you and Jay saw that reunion that we had about 3 or 4 years ago. We had 41 people from all the championship teams. You had to have won a championship with that team. Whether you were there for 1 year or 2 years, or however many years, we had 41 players to come to that and their spouses. And that was a great, great opportunity to relive a lot of that glory that we had. And a lot of us are a little bit bigger now. A lot of us are balder now. A lot of us are a lot slower. But it was still that bond that bonded us in winning championships was still there. You could feel it. So,
but Coop, you didn't answer my question. What was it like when you walk up to the Century Club, or when y'all was out on the town?
Maybe he don't want to answer
talk about that.
No, I'm not talking about. No. What I'm asking is, like, did you even have to stand? I mean, you didn't stand in line, like.
No, you didn't have to. We own the city.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how did they treat y'all? I don't need the details, but I know when like Michael Cage walked up and you walked up,
they're gonna take this, Michael. They're not gonna take that. No, I mean, those are some of the perks that we were able to enjoy, like standing in line at Mr. Childs. Mr. Childs is a big restaurant in Los Angeles up on Wilshire, and you got to call and get reservations. Well, if we call, hey, this is Coop from the Lakers. Oh, come on up, Mr. Cooper. Whether they were full or not, they were always going to make room. So I understand what you're saying, but the Playboy Mansion, some of the special parties, all that you can't hear about, Mark.
No. Yeah. I just wanted to see if you guys were bigger than the Dodgers, if you guys were the king of the town.
Well, you know what? At that time, you got to remember they had Ron Say, Steve Garvey, Dusty Baker. The Dodgers were doing their thing too, man. It was kind of pleasurable, and I think it kind of went hand in hand because you got to remember, 1 year we won the championship and the Dodgers won the World Series. So we both shared it, and we shared it politely. But I think the things that we were trying to do, Pat Riley, Tommy Lasorda, they had us doing was probably a little bit, I'd say, just a smidge higher because we were the Lakers and people could identify with us a little bit more. But I mean, both of us. I mean, several times I went out and Dusty Baker and I were at the same restaurant, and people started standing up clapping for both of us. So it was kind of fun back then, and you enjoyed it.
This talking to you, Coop, is bringing back a whole lot of memories. And a minute ago, you said a word that just sent sparks in my brain. You said Coop-A-Loop. When did y'all work that out and you knew it was going to be a thing in your arsenal?
Well, in 1980, as we're playing and we're going through the season, every time I got the ball on the wing and I put it over my head, people would drop off of me because I'm looking to pass into Kareem or Worthy or Magic into the low post. And in 84, I picked the ball up and they always put Larry Bird on me because I was considered the weakest offensive player. So I put the ball over my head, and Larry would go, shoot it, shoot it, shoot it. And I didn't have a lot of confidence. So through the course of 1980, and we're working, Magic comes up to me today and he goes, Coop, you know what? Because I see that you can jump. I played with a guy named Greg Kelser when I was at Michigan State. And Magic used to throw him lobs and stuff like that. He said, Coop, you and I are going to have to get that synergy, that connection to where we could do that. So in practice, Magic just started telling you, he said, Coop, when I look like this or I do something like this, just cut to the basket and I'm gonna get there. The first time I did it, he threw the ball right to me. And I thought he was gonna throw it in the air. So I'm jumping and I kind of catch the basketball and I gotta come down and I end up laying it up. He goes, oh Coop, I just wanted to make sure you can catch it. Then on, he started throwing it in the air, and that's how Coop-A-Loop came alive.
And Coop, I asked you about getting a call from the Hall of Fame. But then the Lakers call you and say that they're going to retire your jersey, your number 21, on January 13. Like, was that unexpected? Or when you got the Hall of Fame call, did you assume that was coming next? Like, who called you on that? And I don't know if that made you more emotional than the Hall of Fame does, but take us into that process.
You know what, Marc and Jay? Uh, this Hall of Fame process, and Marc, going through it, there's a lot of meetings and a lot of talking, and you got to meet with some people. And you know what? The Lakers have been very, very supportive of me through my whole career, and it hasn't stopped after I started playing. I'm kind of like an ambassador, and I do things in the community with the Lakers. So when they got the call from the Hall, the Lakers stepped up, and particularly Linda Rambis, and she's Jeannie's right-hand person, and so anything Linda says is virtually coming from Jeannie. But we're going through the process of all that, and they're trying to figure out my guest list, and we're doing this and the travel and all that. And all of a sudden, Linda goes, "Oh, by the way, Coop, we're going to retire your jersey, and we're going to." And so whoa, whoa, what? And she goes, "Yeah, the Lakers want to retire your jersey January 13th." Marc and Jay, that moment or this event is probably the one that touched my heart the most because, like I said, I never thought I'd be entering the Hall of Fame, but that was one thing that I never ever thought that would happen because the Lakers, and I knew when Jerry was coming up, one of the criteria when I was working with him, he'd go, I used to ask him, Jerry, what does it take to get that number up there? He goes, well, you had to obviously be a great offensive player. You had to have at least made an all-star team. You had to have this. You had to be first team All NBA or something like that. And so that to me was like, okay, Magic's 32. I'm 21, so my number's up there with him. James Worthy is 42. 2 plus 1, well, the two in there is mine. 2 plus 1 is 3, so I'm up there. And then with Kareem, 2 plus 1 is 3. 33 is up there. So I'm already up there. In my mind, I'm thinking I'm already up there. But now the Lakers have done this. And you know what, Marc? I'm a very emotional guy. And I really, really try not to show it. But the Hall of Fame, I'm going to cry because there's some people I'm going to mention. But when I sit there and they ask me to pull that rope and I can finally see number 21 up there in the rafters with everybody else, it's going to be a moment because you know, dying is part of living. And one day we're all going to leave this earth. But the one thing that I get the opportunity to leave from my grandkids, my great great grandkids, is no matter right now, it's called crypto. And the advancement of these arenas are changing. And pretty soon the Lakers will have to get a bigger place and all that. But you know what? Whenever they change this arena, they have to put that jersey up there. And my great great grandkids will be able to say, you know what? That's my grandfather up there. So I'm leaving something for my kids that they'll always see. For all the fans, You know, the fans that were with us now during the 80s, they're a lot older now. They have told their kids about us or their grandkids about Showtime. And they say, hey, when you go to crypto, just look up there because I got an opportunity to see Kareem, Worthy, Magic, and now Coop. Those are the jerseys that I had an opportunity to look at. That's the thing that's most touching to me. And I almost started crying then. But so that one really means a lot for me.
That's beautiful, man.
Man, that's beautiful. That is, and if you're gonna cry, just let it go, man. I mean, you've earned it.
You don't want to see it, Marc, because it gets ugly. I'm not a cute. I'm not a cute crier.
Hey, you don't double clutch, do you? You're a double.
Oh, you started heaving.
Huh? You're a double clutcher, man. Yeah. We don't need you crying there.
You know what? I was doing some research on you, and it's as many glowing words as there are for your career. I read that it almost didn't happen when you were really young. You had a really devastating injury that resulted in, I think it said 100 stitches. What happened?
You know what, Jay and Marc are, back in the day, my grandmother was from the old school. So they bought those big Folger coffee cans full of coffee. They dump them out and they would sit the can on the back porch to put bacon and chicken grease in. So she usually cuts the top off, but she didn't cut the whole top off. So the top was open and it was kind of jagged. So we had a female German Shepherd dog. She had a litter and they came up and knocked it over. So as I came outside, I slipped in the grease and fell right on that coffee can. And me being so skinny, I fell on my left knee and it just went right into that crevice of that, cut it to the bone, actually nicked the bone.
Oh.
And the next thing I know, I'm laying there, this was about when I was 4 or 5 years old. My knee, as skinny as I was wide open. My grandmother scooped me up, took me to the doctor, and they did all they could, bandaged it, sewed it up, 102 stitches. And my grandmother sat up with me all night. And she used to always tell me, Michael, you're a blessed child. You don't even know it. And so for a year and a half, 2 years after that, I couldn't play or go outside because of my knee was healing. And you know what? My grandmother, or I forget, a reporter once said, Coop, you know what? They told you couldn't walk, but you're flying now. And that's that knee that happened on is the knee I jump off of the most.
Yeah, Coop. When you think about the Hall of Fame too, and your whole career, like, we always think about Magic and Showtime Lakers, blah blah blah, all your teammates. But who from your family, like when you think about it, when you're writing your speech, who from your family? I mean, I'm sure I don't want you to like feel like, uh, look, to all his family members, what you did, right? But who was that one person? Like, man, this one person, I'm not here unless unless they were in my life.
Tom, my uncle, and he was the one that kind of like got us to play sports and all of that. He always had a trunk full of baseball gloves, bats, footballs, basketballs. He always had something, and we weren't allowed to call him Uncle Tom. So when we talk about him, we have to talk about
That's
him as
probably a good thing,
Tom,
right?
my
Yeah, yeah.
uncle. But he's the one. And Tom, as we were growing up, Tom was 6'4", and he was a baseball player. And he gave up his career because my grandfather was getting too old. He was the oldest child, so he quit playing sports to go to work at Vons, and he worked there for over 40 years. So, you know, indirectly, he kind of lived through me a little bit, but he was the one that was supporting us, kept us out of trouble, kept us busy on the weekends, made us go to school. Even though we had hand-me-downs, they were the good hand-me-downs. And if we didn't have enough, he'd go buy us a pair of shoes. And back then, Chuck Taylors only costed like $7. So we used to get those, and when we wore them out, my grandmother would get a piece of cardboard and put them in, and we'd wear them for another week or two before we could get some shoes. But he was the one that's most significant in my life. Most of my family growing up now have passed on. Out of the 10 or 11 people I told you about, I only have 3 people. I got 2 uncles and 1 aunt left, and he's the one that's left. And that's going to be the touching part for me. He doesn't travel. He won't go there. I try to say, Tom, come on, you got to go. I don't leave the house. Tom is 84 now. So he doesn't travel. So when I talk and I mention his name, that's the part that's going to bring me to tears because he didn't do this for anything other than that's what he's supposed to do, raise good kids.
That's good stuff. Marc, why you keep trying to make this man cry
I
before
know,
the
Mark.
ceremony?
Come on, man.
All right, you have had we talked about your stellar playing career, but you've been a really, really good coach, including winning 2 championships in the WNBA with the Sparks. Shift that to present day. What are your thoughts on the current popularity surge that the W is having?
You know what? The WNBA is so special. I really love watching it now. When I got involved with that coaching, I tried to take some of the things that Pat Riley was teaching us with, and the biggest one was attention to detail. So when I got to the Sparks, I was trying to implement that or give that to the women. And I had probably one of the greatest players that's ever played this game on the female side, and that's Lisa Leslie. We broke through that big Houston Comet trio they had, and Cynthia Cooper, Cheryl Swoops, Tina Thompson. And once we broke through, we were able to establish ourselves and let people know that the WNBA is here to stay. So now to see the WNBA in what is it, 27th season, again, it almost makes me cry because I like to feel that I had a little bit to do. Myself, Van Chancellor, Bill Lambert, all gave this game, or that helped give that game, those players, some of the ammunition that they need to make this sport so relevant and that women could earn a good living here because you got some fantastic players. This young lady, Caitlin Clark, I am so impressed with her. As well as Angel Reese and all the other ones. And it's just really, really happy to see this league performing and doing as well as it has been because people said it wasn't going to last 4 or 5 years. And we got to that 8th year and we got to that 12th year. And now look at it, 27 years, and it's growing bigger and stronger every year.
Do you remember when you got offered that job? Was there any apprehension or like, man, I don't know if I could coach women or
Nope,
what
none
kind?
at all. You know what? Magic and myself and Byron Scott, this is in 1989, and we were starting to hear rumblings of that there might be a league. Magic said he wanted to be the busiest businessman in LA, and look at him, billionaire. Byron Scott said he wanted to coach in the NBA. Byron's coached, almost 18, 20 years in the NBA. And believe it or not, I said, I want to coach women. And when I got that opportunity to do it, when Johnny Buss broke off in the WNBA and the Lakers were able to have the Sparks. I was my first year. I was an assistant, and then I took over after the late great Orlando Woolridge. They let him go. So no, I was doing exactly what I wanted to do, and I see it. And I enjoyed coaching the women almost more so than men. But they definitely could play, and women understand the game. They're truly playing the game below the rim, so they have to use all the fundamental aspects of moving the ball around, getting a good shot, those type of things. And that's what I enjoyed about the women's game.
Yeah, Coop, I'm gonna have to bring this might bring you to tears too, man. So I'm gonna just ask you straight. The Clippers are moving to Inglewood.
That didn't bring me to tears. Inglewood is a city of champions. We started that. And I actually kind of like that they're moving there because the Clippers got a great product. It's just a shame that they're not able to really exploit it the way it should. And sometimes a little hindrance is being up under the Lakers roof or being trying to be silent. Now with them going there, they got the Intuit Dome. Bomber has done a great job of getting the media out on that team. Look for them to do big things, and hopefully that'll be a jump start. I am a closet Clipper fan. I like the Clippers. I really do. I think they're a good team. Ty Lue has something special. It's just something that can't get them over the hump. But mark my words, if the Clippers ever, and you have to start with ever, winning a championship, I think you'll see 4 or 5 and more come down the path. It's getting that group of people that knows how to win. And if they can get over the hump and win it, then things will really open up for them. So yeah, I hope they have good luck. And we left a good fertile groundwork over there in Inglewood. So hopefully they can plant their roots and really dig in and make some things happen for
So
themselves.
you know, Lakers fans are gonna think that's blasphemous for you to give them a compliment.
Listen, we own LA, man, and Inglewood is part of LA, dog. We still got it going on.
Have you been in a forum for a concert or have you
Yes, I
been there?
have.
Was
I was
that
the
weird
first one
for
to
you?
fire there last month.
What was
And
that?
that was my first time being back, and it was kind of heartfelt, man. Because my wife now she's from Sweden, and she wasn't around when we were winning. She came over here in '94. So when we go in there, I tell her, "Hey, baby, this is where it all started. Okay, this is where everything began." And she was like, "Wow, it's kind of dark and dank in here." I said, "Well, you got to remember, it's a concert. When we were there, the lights were shining. It was showtime. Dr. Bus had his avalanche of young women walking around. He had movie stars, and he had it going on." And she said, "Okay, I kind of picture it a little bit."
Before we let you get out of here, because I know we know you have a call you need to get on with the Hall because you're a Hall of Famer and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
He's busy.
Busy man.
Make that
Busy.
speech right.
Yeah, you got things going, things popping.
It's probably about 30 minutes, but
it's probably. What are your thoughts on the current state of your old team, in particular, LeBron playing with his son on the team?
I love it. I love it. I thought that was a great draft pick. I was a little skeptical about JJ coming there, but you know what? You can't complain now because that's the person they chose to lead this team. I think he's going to be good. One thing they've done extremely well, Rob Pelinka, they surrounded him with some championship coaches and Nate McMillan and Scott Brooks. I think that'll help him. But I think with a fresh pair of eyes on the game, and JJ Redick's a fresh pair because he's been on the sideline, he's been able to look at everything. I think the Lakers are, I believe that they're still a play-in team. And I believe anytime you have LeBron and AD, you have a chance to win a championship. So I'm going to tell you right now, the Lakers going to win a championship until they have to show me wrong. Now, through the process of all that.
What championship?
Together, huh?
You talking about the mid-season tournament?
No, I'm talking about the NBA championship. Stop playing, okay. Mark. Stop playing. We're going to win that too. Anyway. Okay. But while they're going through this process, I think Bronny, LeBron's son, drafting him puts all the media back on the Lakers because people are going to be waiting to see, hey, how are they going to look? What's going on all season? When he gets in, how he's going to do. And mark my words, will Bronny be as good as his dad? Probably not that stature, but Bronny James is going to be a good NBA player in this league. Will he help the Lakers this upcoming season? He's going to struggle because he's going to be like any rookie coming in trying to figure it out and stuff like that. But give that young man 2 or 3 years, man, up under his dad and and learning how to be a pro. He's going to be a good player. So the Lakers are the West is loaded. They're going to have to fight tooth and nail every single night to get into that top 8. But I think the Lakers can do it as long as they stay healthy.
All right, you said they're going to win the championship, so I wrote it down. We gonna call you. We gonna call you when the finals start.
That's a mic drop right there. I was gonna ask another question, but I'm gonna leave you with that one, bro. I'm gonna leave you with that one. And I just want to tell you,
if things don't go my way, I know I'm gonna hear from y'all.
We'll bring you back on. But I'm gonna tell you, man. I'm for somebody to be drafted 6th in the 60th overall, in the 3rd round when you came out to do what you did. Is absolutely incredible, and just a testament to how amazing defender you are to go to the Hall of Fame, to get your jersey retired, and talk about like the longest of odds, man. Like for you to do what you've done, you're a basketball role model. So congratulations to you. I look forward to seeing you in Connecticut and Springfield and giving you a hug, man, and you know, seeing if you could break me and make me cry a little bit during your speech as well. Coop, thank you for everything. And I look forward to seeing you and giving you a hug, brother.
Thank you, Mark. And Jay, I always enjoy listening to you, man. Thank you. And I'm going to say this with the ending piece, and then I got to get out of here.
Okay.
That old saying goes, if I can do it, anybody can do it. That truly rings appropriate. If I can do it, like you said, Mark, 60th player pick, this is coming from nowhere. Any kid can do it if you put in the proper work. Thank you, guys. Love y'all.
Appreciate you, brother.
NBA on ESPN.